excited, Arizona? Thank you for tuning in today to the Michael Crawford Get Excited Show. I need you to do me a favor. For everyone out there right now watching me, I need you to do me a favor. I'm going to take a real short, quick break because I want you to get the young viewers in the other room. That's right. The Michael Crawford Get Excited Show today is not intended for anyone that's not an adult. It's going to be very graphic and explicit conversations on a ex-child-molester, a man that has really walked through the wilderness and now says that he is cleansed by the blood of Jesus, and he's currently a pastor at a church. Currently a pastor at a church. So don't touch that dial. We're coming right back to the Michael Crawford Get Excited Show.
Everybody, let's get into it. Get stoked, get started, get started, get started. Let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Excited, Arizona. And thank you again for tuning in to the Michael Crawford Get Excited Show. Thank you for removing all the young viewers. And the reason I had you do that, parents, is because today on the Michael Crawford Get Excited Show is Don Fieldcamp. And Don is a child molester that has really had such a horrific upbringing that I want to get it all out. I just don't want to ask some questions where he gives me the God thing because he's really turned his life around. But first, I want to know. I want to know why and how he turned it around. Because you see, people have to make a very conscious and deliberate decision to make the choice to change, and then God will keep you on that right path. But you can't say, well, God changed me, because God doesn't violate your free will. You have to make a decision, and then God will keep you on that path. So, without any further ado, I want to welcome Don Campfield, or Fieldcamp, excuse me. Oh, wow, how do you like that? I went to school at Campfield, that's probably why I said it. But Don, let's get right into it. In the open, what I was just saying, I truly feel that way. A lot of people that have went through the wilderness and been involved in sex crimes as yourself, they tell me, well, it's a God thing. God changed me. Well, I kind of differ with that, and I'll tell you why. God doesn't violate our will.
Absolutely.
What God does is this. You have to make the conscious and deliberate decision to change. Mm-hmm. Something had you wake up, okay, and say, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to do thy will and not my evil, dark will.
Right. Absolutely.
So I want to know, tell all the people on the Michael Crawford Get Excited Show today, what was it? What was in your heart? Was it fear, anger? Get to the core and explain. Start from the beginning and explain the core of the problem.
Well, I really want to get to the particular issue, but for the sake of your viewers, I think we need to talk a little bit about the upbringing, the childhood, the seed that was planted, and how they say he's a bad seed.
Yes.
But basically, what transpired is I was born in sunny California in 1963, and my dad was a very big, powerful man. He had just gotten out of prison for I don't even know what for, Michael. And so anyways, he met my mother. She was a waitress at Woolworths, and they fell in love or lust or whatever. Okay. And my mother already had four of my stepsisters from a previous marriage, and she was living single. But anyways, they got married. And it just seemed like right from the get-go, I mean, he was very charming at the beginning, but right from the get-go, he didn't have to hide his drinking or anything else like that. He was just a big drinker. He was a brawler, had his weapons and his guns and stuff like that. And anyways, then I come into the picture. I'm born, okay? And he just could not stop his carousing, not one bit, okay? My mother stayed home. She stopped waitressing. Jealous, protective guy, wants to keep her locked up at home. And so anyways, and then I'm getting a little bit older, and as I'm getting older, I'm starting to see things, just not that I know what right and wrong is at that age, it's just that I have this memory of what transpired when I was a kid. And
what transpired?
Oh, geez, the abuse was horrendous.
We'll talk about that abuse.
Yeah,
talk about it.
Definitely. My dad whatever kind of background he came from. I have no idea what kind of abusive childhood, or I don't know what kind of life he lived. But from what I witnessed, my mother struggled trying to keep him happy. Okay, and he would just fly off the handle. He was drunk all the time.
But what did he do to you?
Oh, to me?
Yes. This is.
Yeah.
It's not about your.
Yeah.
I want to know what was the abuse given to you.
Oh yeah. Well, he was very sadistic. Once he would get tanked up, full of alcohol and whatever, he liked to play games with us, and some of the games that he enjoyed playing. And matter of fact, he told me these games later on in life. But my sisters filled me in on it, and I remember some of it too. Is he would have a bullwhip, and we would have to try to run past him and to get to the other side without getting whipped. And that was like one of his most favorite games. He also liked to, while my mother was recuperating in the back room from her wounds, he would give us a bath, and the bath water was just so blazing hot, Michael, that I remember standing up immediately, and he would shove you back down. And it was scalding hot, no cold water whatsoever. And so it was very abusive. He used to beat us on a regular basis. I remember one time, actually I don't remember it, but my sister remembers it. But we were arguing. She's 5 years older than I was. She was the youngest one, and we were arguing over an Etch-a-Sketch. Okay, and anyways, Tony, my sister, went to him and said, he took my Etch-a-Sketch. He took my Etch-a-Sketch. And so his idea of solving the problem was to take the Etch-a-Sketch and break it in half over my head. And my sister said that I was unconscious on the ground with the gray powder all over the floor, and gave a piece to her and says, "There you go," and that's how he problem solved. That was some of his parenting techniques, some of his playing and stuff like that he did. But so yeah, the abuse kind of like transpired like that until he got to the place where he got my wife to co-sign for a loan so he could start his own moving business. He fell in love with the secretary and ran off with her. And so that kind of left me, my mother, and my sisters, three of them took off. They took off because of the abuse was so great. They left at an early age, 15, 16, 14, and ran off with other guys, to get married or fall into heroin. They became drug addicts.
He had your wife sign for a loan?
Yeah, my mother.
Oh, your mother, excuse me. Okay.
Yeah, my mother. Did I say wife?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
no,
your
my
mother.
My mother signed for the loan for him so he can start his own moving business. And she signed for it. He had no credit. He just got out of prison.
Right.
So anyways, he works his way up to 5 trucks. And he's doing really good. He's really successful.
In a trucking company.
In a trucking company, yeah. And so anyways, and then that's when he needed a secretary, okay, and he fell in love or lust or whatever you want to call it.
Ran off with the secretary, left you all high and dry. You lost everything.
Oh yeah, my
Where'd you
mother
go
had
from
to pay that off. So they came and confiscated, repossessed, whatever you want to call it.
Everything.
Excuse me, all the furniture, everything. And my mother, I remember my mother begging the mover to at least leave a camping cot for me to sleep on, okay? And so it's just me and my sister that's 5 years older than me. The other 3 took off. They got addicted to drugs and whatever. And, there's still some complications in their life to this day because of it. But, and so he went on his way. And so there I am left with that, just me and my mother and my sister.
Okay, where did the sexual deviant evilness come into your life, though? I mean, you talk
Right.
a lot about the abuse. Now let's get into the evil and your devious mind, your demonic mind.
One thing I want to bring out is there's boundaries that have to be crossed. Okay, whenever you get into acts that I've committed, okay, there's boundaries that have to be crossed when you're young. Okay, it just doesn't happen. Okay, you just don't set out and do something like that. My mother, when my dad left, I became the little man. I became the man of the family, okay? No, there wasn't any
At 6 years old.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it seemed like she put all that upon me to talk to her. She would talk to me about, what do you think about this guy, that I'm dating? And there was times that she would bring somebody home. And, why my sister was much older than me, she was, a beautician, hairdresser. She's out of the house, and there would be somebody there with her, and she would open the door, crack it open, and say, "Would you get us a drink of water, Donald?" And so I would kind of like,
Were there sexual acts going on in the room?
yeah, exactly, yeah. And I heard these sounds, and it's like I didn't quite understand what was going on.
And you're what age are you?
This is all the way. I mean, my mother stayed single for 16 years after my dad. So, yeah. So this went on all the way. Pretty much. And she didn't get married. Until after I'd left the house. So, anyways, I kind of in my mind, I'm thinking that's how. That's life. That's what you do, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, you don't separate these things from your kids. Your kids are involved in stuff like that. And she would always talk to me about her, sexual exploits. He wasn't very well endowed.
Your mother would talk to you about that.
Yeah, she, honestly, I'm not going to minimize it or anything, Michael, but she was a good mother. But she did the best she could with what she had and what she knew.
And so, involved you in all of it.
Yeah, and she involved me in all of it. And so here I am in my mind thinking, that's normal, that's natural to involve your kids in your problems and in sexual matters and things of that nature. And
okay, we only have a couple of minutes before we go to break. I want to start, I'm not trying to rush you, but unfortunately I only have a half-hour show. I need you to get into, I think you set a good basis of why, what procured all this, your mind, because you really didn't know what was love all about. Yeah, so start from there.
When I was 8 years old, a friend of mine, we used to go look up and down the alleys, and we found this huge cache in a trash can full of pornographic magazines. And it was like, soon as I picked up that magazine, Michael, it felt like something jumped on me. It felt like I had never seen anything like that before in my life. I mean, it was like, wow. And these were
all the naked women, right?
Yeah, and doing things with each other and men involved. And it was like, what is going on here? Is this what's going on behind that closed door with my mother and those men? I mean, it's like, wow, And so my friend used to, and I would look at these magazines and act out these things. We would,
Okay, hold that thought right there.
Yeah.
We've got to go to break. But when we come back, we'll get into that.
Okay.
Arizona, don't touch a dial. We're coming right back. You're watching the Michael Crawford Get Excited show with my guest, Don Fieldcamp, and he will get into what procured his deviant, his demonic mind of misunderstanding what love was all about. Don't touch a dial. We'll come right back.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Big Bell Road Kia is your one-stop shop for the best deals on new Kias. Check out the 2011 Kia Soul starting at only $109 a month. That's right, only $109 a month. Hurry into Big Bell Road Kia for great deals, great service, and great selection.
If you would like to make a love gift, large or small, please mail it to Get Excited Ministries, P.O. Box 11176, Glendale, Arizona 85318. This program is made possible by the prayers.
Big Bell Road Kia is your one-stop shop for the best deals on new Kias. 2011 Kia Sorento starting at only $239 a month. That's right, only $239 a month. Hurry into Big Bell Road Kia for great deals, great service, and great selection.
Get started, get started, get started. Let's get it started.
Get excited, Arizona. We're back. You're watching the Michael Crawford Get Excited show. And today, my guest is Don Fieldcamp. Don is a child molester that has turned his life around. He made a very conscious and deliberate decision to turn his life around, and God is really helping him and moving through him, and now he is an ordained minister. But I want to know about the story, okay? What procured everything? Because I want people to understand several things in this segment right now. So I'll tell you now, and I'll kind of preference what Don's going to talk about. Just because there's church functions going on, my Christian brothers and sisters, you cannot send your children there unescorted. Mm-hmm. You cannot think that everything's okay. Don't worry about it if you're late picking them up, even. And you know who I'm talking about, okay? You can't just say, oh, it's a church. No, because this proves there are evil, devil, dark, demonic people going to church just to prey on young believers. Now, having said that, what is Michael Crawford talking about?
Well, from the stumbling upon the cache of pornographic magazines, my friend went a totally different direction. He's now a homosexual.
Oh, he is.
He chose to go in
the
that route because of the experimentation that went on between he and I. So he went that direction, and I kind of went the other way. And there's many different avenues.